What's up, guys? On today's Robbie's Reviews, I am doing the 2019 McLaren 600LT Coupe. And I just want to thank my friend Gino, who's allowed me to take the car out and get a feel for what it's like to drive and show you guys all the cool and unique features that it has. Let's go check it out. Alright guys, here she is, the 2019 McLaren 600LT, finished in Mayan Orange Elite. This is a special color for McLaren. It's actually a lot darker than McLaren Orange, which actually is the color of the brake calipers, so you can see that difference in the shades of orange there. Now this is the coupe, so it's a fixed roof that slopes all the way back here to where the 3.8 liter twin turbo V8 engine is. Now, as some of you may know, the 570S is McLaren's entry-level supercar, if you want to call it that. However, the 600LT is the ultimate version of the 570S. You can call it the long tail or LT for short. But this car produces 592 horsepower and 457 pound-feet of torque from that 3.8 liter V8 you can see down there. It's very, very low down in the chassis for the nice low center of gravity, for the superior handling characteristics. Whereas the regular 570S only produces 562 horsepower, has a completely different suspension setup, a less aggressive exhaust, just totally different car. The 600LT is an absolute animal, and is more hardcore than the 570S in every single way imaginable. So walking around the 600LT, some of the key differences over the 570S are that extremely aggressive and open, wide mouth here. You have the inlets for the intercoolers and the radiators that are right there, the air filters. You have this massive front carbon fiber splitter that extends with the side flicks or canards all the way down here. You have some venting for the cool off these massive carbon ceramic brakes. The nice painted black forged wheels. They're actually 19s in the front and 20s in the back. So it's a staggered setup where the diameter of the front wheels are different from the rear. And this is a very highly optioned car. Aside from the special Mayan Orange Elite paint option, you have the carbon fiber packs on the outside, so the mirrors, the front splitter, the side skirts here that say the 600LT on the side, goes all the way up. You have the vents in the top and the bottom of the door here, and this all channels air into the engine. Continuing back, and you have this huge, what I would call a rear bumper slash diffuser. All one solid piece of carbon fiber that extends all the way down there. You have the reverse light and the backup camera there. McLaren badging. And probably one of the most noticeable differences over the 570S is this upward facing exhaust. So what's really a treat at night, if you get the car hot enough or the exhaust gets hot enough, you actually see a constant blue glowing flame that comes out. And that's partially why you have the wing here, the large fixed wing that's painted, and you have this kind of like ceramic rough looking surface here. That's to protect against the sheer amount of heat that's coming out of the exhaust, so it doesn't melt the paint or any other surface. And another thing that I love that McLaren's been doing in the past several years is incorporating their own logo into the designs of their cars. So here you have the badge, but the entire taillight is actually one McLaren logo. Then moving around to the front of the car, the headlight is also a McLaren logo, and there are even smaller McLaren logos inside that. You have the cool 600LT badging inside. So just little things like that. Alright, so now we're going to get a look at those full LED headlights and taillights. Got the button to open the car here. Butterfly doors swing up. Gotta press ignition. And the lights on here. Oh, and one more really cool thing for being such a hardcore supercar, it actually has soft closed doors. Pretty amazing. Alright, so checking out the LED headlights. You have one main projector followed by that McLaren logo shaped daytime running light, and then a whole section of other little LEDs inside there that make up the turn signal. Very, very bright, looks very good. Going around the side, you have little indicators in the mirrors here. Side markers. And then moving around to the large LED taillights, you have that nice thin red LED design. Goes all the way around inside this clear housing here. Very, very nice, modern, futuristic design. So now we're going to turn off the ignition. Put the headlights back to auto. See those soft closed doors one more time. Very cool. And the window closes by itself. Just continuing to walk around the 600LT. You really notice how many lines and cuts and just openings and vents there are, all to help aid the air go flawlessly around the body of the car and through it. You have these gills and openings here. Oh, got a plane taking off. And back to what we were saying. So you have these openings that go into the body of the car, and they're really just there to guide the air in and around the car, and keep it as planted on the ground as possible with all that downforce. And it definitely does a good job of that. You really just have openings everywhere. So you can see into that engine there. You see the titanium exhaust, as well as that 3.8 liter twin turbo V8. All right, so now we're going to step inside and check out the interior of the 600LT. Now this has the full carbon center seats, and they're not fixed, but they only slide back a couple inches. And getting it with the camera is going to be interesting, so let's give it a try. Alright, that wasn't so bad. Now the seats are very snug, but on the tightest of corners or on a racetrack or the street playing around, you're not going anywhere. The bolstering is extremely aggressive. They basically hug you. And the Alcantara padding is not exactly that generous, so I wouldn't recommend it for long drives. But let's close it down. Soft closed doors, and you got that Bowers & Wilkins system, which sounds amazing. Now let's start it up with the start button here. Actually, if we hit the active panel here, that puts the gauge cluster in more of like a race mode. Got the emergency parking brake down here. Now I'm not sure how well you'll be able to hear me. I might have to do this with the car off. Well, actually, now that that extremely noisy bus over there has turned off, and we've turned off the engine of the 600LT, it's much quieter now. We're going to put the ignition on. Leave the door open so we don't pass out. And right away you notice that large digital gauge cluster with the central tach in this mode right now. You have odometer, the journey, trip, all your gauges and settings. Don't worry, there's no check engine light. It's just because the ignition is on. You have your fuel range there, park and brake. And actually, if we hit the active panel here, I don't know if you can see that. Let me go back. So we hit active, and then it goes into this kind of like race mode where it shows you only the tachometer. The speed is small, and you have the shift light there, which we'll show in a little bit. And what McLaren has loved doing for the past several years is this vertical screen here. It's actually touchscreen. And the MP4-12C was actually a nightmare to use, but it has gotten better. Looks like it's some kind of Android software. It's got physical buttons down here. You have this McLaren button in the middle that takes you home. Has Sirius XM, apps, media, navigation. Really standard stuff.
The biggest name in contemporary blues is on Sirius XM.
And then you have the central volume knob here. Actually, have your AC controls, which the AC works pretty well. And actually, that Bowers & Wilkins system, which has several speakers throughout the car. One is this very interesting tweeter or center channel, not really sure. Looks like there's a center channel below it, and this is another tweeter. So you have 3 tweeters, you have the door speakers here, and the Bowers & Wilkins speakers there, as well as a few in the back, behind the center seats, along with a nice shelf or storage tray there. Very, very small back window, and you could just make out those exhaust tips. And you do have a cup holder all the way back here by the 600LT logo. The plate that says Surrey, England, that's where this car is produced. You have another storage tray, and then you have kind of this floating bridge here with the start button, all your controls for the track mode, traction control off, launch control, auto start stop, opening the front boot or trunk, and then your drive, neutral, reverse, hazard lights. You have another kind of cup holder down here. You actually have a pretty generous center console, all things considered, with 3 USB ports and a cigarette outlet. And you can see through the Alcantara padding here, those gorgeous carbon fiber seats with holes for the harnesses. Put the harness through there, then it would come through here for a 5-point harness. So go to the car settings. So you have pretty much basic stuff, language settings. You can change what language you want the car to be in. Advanced settings, nothing really there. That's pretty much it. It's not very in-depth. You have a shortcut for your navigation. If you can drag, zoom out. Looks like Google Maps or something similar. Go back. The screen brightness, that's just to turn off the screen if you don't want to see it. And I actually got the window sticker here. You can check this out. So as you can see, it's a 2019 Elite Mayan Orange, which is a special color from McLaren. 3.8 liter all aluminum V8, twin turbo dry sump lubrication, 7-speed McLaren dual clutch. It's called the Seamless Shift Gearbox, or SSG, with 3 powertrain and transmission modes: normal, sport, and track. McLaren adaptive damping, double wishbone independent suspension. It's got all sorts of different modes. The suspension actually rides really, really nice in comfort mode, almost like a Toyota Camry. You have those large carbon ceramic rotors. Just all the safety and security and stuff. And actually, speaking of the steering, it's an electro-hydraulic system, rack and pinion. And where most cars with electric power steering like this, it would kind of make you feel numb to the road. Like you can't really tell what the front end is doing or where the front wheels are. But this car just has a way of making you feel so connected to the road. And when we get out on the road in a little bit, I'll tell you guys more about that. But as far as options goes, this car starts at $240,000 base price. It has the tires, which is a no-cost option. The ceramic brakes, orange caliber, matching logo with a Mach logo. McLaren logo is $1,100. The wheels are $1,300. Actually, not that expensive of an options here. Vehicle lift, which is a must-have, $1,500. Front and rear parking sensors, looks like it's standard. Lithium battery charger, must-have. Air conditioning, thank God, is it's a no-cost option. Carbon fiber interior upgrade, which is all this carbon fiber inside here, the dry carbon, which looks very, very nice. Matches those Senna seats. That's a $6,600 option. And here we go, the super lightweight, or Senna, the racing seats. They're not the touring ones. They are the basically the almost fixed bucket seats. They are $6,000. Soft closed doors, $700. Carbon fiber 1 and 2 this car has. So that's $10,000 in options. And the paint by itself is a $4,000 option. Bowers & Wilkins 12-speaker audio system, $4,000. And any other fees. So this car is just under $280,000. So after taxes, it's well over $280,000. And I'm not sure if you guys care about the fuel economy, but it gets 15 city and 23 highway. That's better than my S-Class, and this is a near $300,000 supercar, track monster. So, all things considered, it's really not that bad. And like I said, it's really very simple in here, kind of bare bones. It does have a lot of nice tech, and the materials are very nice. The whole headliner is Alcantara suede. Anything that's not carbon fiber in here, or some kind of leather, like there's a little bit of leather here on the steering wheel. That's probably the only piece of leather in this whole car that I can see. Everything else is Alcantara. And the dry carbon, you have these large, the column-mounted paddle shifters here for the SSG dual clutch transmission. Have your headlight controls down there, all your wipers and your lifter and everything. And that's pretty much it. I'm kind of a bigger guy, and I fit just okay in these seats. It's not very comfortable, and I can't really move, but definitely would be fun to drive around and tool around in. Now we're going to go get some startup and rev clips, and then we're going to take it out on the road and see what it's like to drive. McLaren 600LT. Sorry it's a little loud in here. Got the exhaust right behind me. I've driven lots of McLarens, 12C, 650S, 570S, and I can honestly say that this 600LT, one second. Is immediate. The throttle response is second to none. The steering, the electric power steering, is really on another level. Really makes you feel connected with the car. Just the way the steering responds, the suspension, especially in track mode. I have the car in active right now, which has all the aero working to ensure the car is as slippery, but also as sticky as possible to the road. And I mean, the point of view, you've got the A-pillar sweeping back here. My visibility is perfect, 360 degrees. I can see where I'm going. These center seats, while very, very firm and not the most comfortable, they keep you firmly planted in. And definitely is an awesome car. And those carbon ceramic brakes just feel amazing. Let's give it some gas real quick. McLarens are very finely tuned machines when it comes to on-track performance and also on-road comfortability. Now that means the suspension, when it's in comfort mode, I feel like I'm driving a Camry. And the 570S is like that too, the much less hardcore version of this car. That's just like driving a luxury car with all the amenities inside. Now with the 600LT, the suspension is tuned for more performance-oriented driving, but the electric power steering, very quick to respond. And there's not much else I could say other than this is an amazing car to drive. Alright guys, that should do it for this Robbie's Reviews. Once again, I just want to thank my friend Gino, who's allowed me to take the 600LT out to review it and show you guys what it's all about. See you next time.